Okono.
Right, so Radio 101 Everything Radio, and you can call 08084 275464. That's 08084 275464. And we're streaming live on YouTube as well. If you come to Facebook, if you're following us, King Radio on Facebook, that's us, King Radio 98.5 Speed FM Marketing on Facebook. You will see the notification there as well. So when you click, takes you to the link on YouTube to watch and ask your question or send in your comments. Radio 101 Everything Radio. So starting here, ask me anything about radio.
Okay, I'm a little bit curious about analog and digital. You know, at least you've been in both worlds, you know. Being on radio for 25 years is not a joke, so you've been in both worlds. So how does it feel? Would you prefer the analog way of operating radio or this digital way of operating radio?
Okay, so they both have advantages.
Okay.
Analog has advantages as well as digital. But you can say disadvantages of analog are more.
Okay.
So we started the analog way, and you are playing. I started with CD and vinyl. That's the turntable, and then cassettes, and then mini disc. Mini disc is digital, but the general operating system was analog. So you have no computers. We started before computers came. So sound is routed from the audio mixer, to a processor before even going an arm before going to the audio processor, the transmitter. Somebody say perhaps.
Oh, really? Hello, good morning.
All right, it's a drop call.
Okay.
So right from the studio, you are playing from CD to CD. So except if you program a CD, but if it were not a non-stop recording already on CD, it means one song is going to end, and as it's ending, you are bringing a feather up to play the other one. So you just have to be there. It's not like a play-out system like what we have that's programmed now. So from playing in the studio, that is how it is, how cumbersome it is, or it was. It is because others are still using that. So even turntables, they have to be two. Otherwise, if you play a song on one and it's ending, you can be removing the plate while you're talking on the mic and then putting another one. So digitally, for music, that's one way. Even for the transmitters and the other ones, maybe some more technical details. But from editing audio and all of that, it's the same. It's easier with digital.
So can you explain, because you're telling me things like cutting off tape back then when you were at ASO Radio. So can you put more light to it?
Right. So editing generally, dating way back to the days of reel to reel.
Yeah.
Reel to reel is a spool of tape, like if you see on your cassette, but that's like a film, so it has images for TV. For radio, it's just audio.
Okay.
So that's the same concept that came to cassette. So if a cassette is damaged to some extent, the tape is out, you have to cut it and join with tape. That's for cassette.
Yeah.
Now for editing, even at the time that we're using mini disc, that is digital, it's a small disc inside. But when you are recording with all those other recorders on location, it means that they have what is called T mark.
Okay.
So if you are listening back to your editing and you want to remove a voice in between, you just press that mark.
Okay.
Maybe twice. So one track that you were recording becomes 3 tracks, meaning that the first part that you wanted to be there will remain there. Then the third part that you wanted there will be there. You now delete the second one. It will now join your voice between the first and second.
That sounds stressful.
Exactly. Unlike this, though, the digital audio workstations that you're using, like Adobe, that we're using here now, you just highlight on the computer and then you just press delete and then it goes. But that was a process.
Yeah, that was difficult.
So even on cassette and all of that. So yes, that's how difficult it was to do.
Wow.
But I also mentioned disadvantages.
Yeah, you did.
For digital technology, disadvantage is major one is it could crash.
Exactly.
Yeah, you could just lose everything and you come and your radio station is not working because there's a whole lot of things that are involved in the play out system. You record your news most times, sometimes you go live. Then there is traffic from your other adverts that is coming in from external servers. You schedule the ads and they're playing. Adverts could be scheduled from Lagos, to play here, or from outside the country to play here on our radio station at intervals. Now, if your server crashes, it means those ads are not going to play. And then when you have different stations, sometimes the music director is in one place controlling the music that is playing on a Speed FM in Boko, Speed FM in Abuja, Speed FM in Makurdi. So if the system crashes, it means nothing is going to go on air for digital. That's the major disadvantage.
Okay, just like us, we have the boats, right? So that they can complement each
Yeah, exactly. We have cassettes here, we have turntable here,
Yeah.
we have CD. CD is a bit digital. It's digital.
It's digital, yeah.
Yeah, but it's being operated on analog system.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. So, okay, another question that I wanted to ask is that at times most people they feel that okay, any microphone can be used to broadcast. That's what they think. They just feel okay, you can use any speaker, any mic, any system to just operate your radio station. How true is that?
No, that's not true.
Okay.
That's not true.
Okay.
So now, if I'm not going to avoid a lot of technical jargon, which will confuse people, microphones are classified under the categories of their pickup pattern and their own response to sound. Like you have the condenser microphones. Here we're using a combination of both. The one I'm talking on now is the Neumann BCM 105, 104, but it's a condenser microphone.
Yeah. The
The ones you guys are using are dynamic microphones.
Okay.
So they need, this one needs more power. The dynamic microphone needs more power, to be on. So sometimes then that's classification, which I don't want to go into more details, technical details. But of course, what you have, their pickup patterns as well matters. So the pickup pattern of a TV microphone, for instance, those gun mic, those boom mics that when you are filming a movie and you just bring them overhead and they pick everything, they're different, but are too sensitive for radio. So this ones here, the pickup pattern, the diaphragm, something like a magnetic force that's around it here. It's just in the front here. So you talk straight into this one. If you move away from this, it will still pick, but it will drop the quality of your voice because some external noise is going to come between you and the microphone.
Okay, so positioning matters when
it
you're
does a
speaking
lot.
into the mic.
It does a lot.
Okay.
So it's going to modulate your voice. You don't need to shout if you're just close to it.
Okay.
In most cases.
Okay.
So, but the other ones that are called omnidirectional, that their pickup pattern is from all angle, from close distance, they can still pick. Those ones are used for drama. So it's not necessarily to come and use here as an announcer.
Okay.
So the ones you have there are called announcer microphones.
Okay.
Meaning that your mouth should be close to where the diaphragm is, so that it's just going to pick you, straight. So that's electro voice, RE320. That's what you're using there.
Okay. I don't even know the mic I'm even using. I'm just talking on it.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know if Ubongabasi has a question.
Yeah.
All right. So a bit moving away from all the technical thing we've been talking about since morning, I would like to ask, do you think would you say this is the height of digital radio, or are there things you think would be better in digital radio?
Well, for asking radio particularly, or...
Like generally.
Yeah. So digital radio, I feel things could be better, but developers of the software have tried, like playout systems. When you want to look at the interface of a lot of them, especially when you are being introduced to them for the first time, it's not that easy. It's quite tricky.
Okay.
For instance, the playout system we're using, you synchronize it with even your keypad, and something happens. For instance, let's say I'm just going to press F1. Okay, let me go to F10 here. And if you press F10, that's what you hear.
AskingRadio.com app available on Android and iOS devices. Download now.
Right. So it's also programmed on the mixer here. So that's what is called shortcut. And then so there are tabs here on the mixer that you're seeing. So if I press that one.
AskingRadio.com app available on Android and iOS devices. Download now.
Now that's digital technology, which can be operated anywhere. So, but if it were the days of analog, it means you're going to play a cassette. And mind you, that cassette could be 46 minutes or 45 or 90. It means that you have to time it to finish and stop and rewind it to keep, if you want to play that kind of a sweeper. So your question is whether there is enough where it is, or you think more could be done. Yeah. So there's always more.
Exactly.
There is always more. For instance, this software developer that what we're using, he's in the US, and we talk and have brought a lot of innovations to this software myself. So when you suggest things that, look, they are missing here and they should come back, then they bring them in. So sometimes when you have a new version, that's an upgrade, like what we're using now is 6.4.88. By the time you have a 6.5, you discover that some of the old things sometimes drop in the programming.
That's true.
Because one code is missing. So we, the users, say, no, this should be brought back. Now, we have a feature that no song, if you program this, no artist should play within the same hour. Michael Jackson should not play 2 songs between 4 and 5. It's programmed. And no, the same song should play twice in a whole day because you have enough music. So you program them that way. But again, there are certain things that you might just want to, bring them into digital technology. So sometimes it suggests, so it's never enough. Now, the products we're using as the mixer here or the audio console, they have an AirPlay as well. So the 4 faders, I think I introduced you guys to different 4 faders here that are for USB sound. As you are bringing one up, it's actually playing a song that is queued. So when you want that, you are bringing it down, you are bringing that song down without touching the computer. So they are designed in such a way that you don't need to touch the mouse, touch the keypad on the computer, but just operate on your mixer. Analog mixers don't have that. I will not even have that. So back to your question, it's never enough.
All right.
Okay, so am I the one presenting the show?
You're the one educating us.
Okay, so I'm hosting the show.
Yeah, it's Radio 101, so
All
you're
right.
educating us.
Okay, so if you're just joining in, this is Radio 101 on extra speed on Asking Radio 98.5 Speed FM. Catch us if you can. We're streaming live on YouTube. And of course on Facebook here you can have this link, follow and watch. And most importantly, you can ask anything about radio and or Asking Radio. And so you can call on 08084275464. That's 08084275464. We continue bringing series of radio talk like this. If you would prefer to sit and just listen, then fine, because you the radio and your family are fine these days. Exactly where Prince, we've not heard from you. So yeah, ask questions.
Okay, Ubong, you still have questions?
You guys should
as
have.
we move on, I'll have more questions.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask now what the difference between the AM. I'm sure there's still someone out there who does not know the AM and FM thing. If you could throw more light on that.
Right. So AM is amplitude modulation or medium wave. So basically, it starts from the technology itself. Radio waves, travel from one point to the other, from Speed FM to your radio set, wherever you are, maybe driving or listening at home. So radio sets came with AM, and the characteristics or the behavior of the waves we are told is ground waves. So they travel under the ground and they go farther because they were using even very high masts then, those masts that are very like maybe thousands of meters, so they use those masts and they travel that far. So even up till now, there are some stations that are operating on medium wave. Voice of America is operating on medium wave. Radio Benue 1 is on medium wave. But there is a radio station in Nigeria that is on medium wave, which is AM, on digital, which is Radio Gotel in Yola. The policy here was not to issue license to private ownership of the AM, but government, because they were using it for education purposes. So the quality of the sound is not anywhere close to FM signal, but they travel farther than the FM, but they are not as anywhere clean as. So it's more like putting on a very white dress that is spotless and stainless, and then the one that somebody has gone to a party to struggle for jollof rice and it's all stained. So if you compare, that's where you can put AM and FM. So FM travels not as far as AM. Besides, AM transmitters were so big, power consuming, that they could travel very far. FM transmitters, they can be anything. Like the federal government of Nigeria can decide to have a radio station that should be tuned everywhere in the country, and they can actually go to the transmitter companies to make one, because other countries actually manufacture things like that. You hear something like 180 watts, kilowatts, 180 kilowatts. Mind you, NBC approves only 2 kilowatts for commercial FM stations in Nigeria. So imagine just 2 kilowatts compared to 180. ASO Radio was on 37 then, but just about 26 was going over 18 states. So I think I have answered that question. AM and FM,
You have. So on medium wave, strictly like there's no like entertainment, it's just news, educational stuff, right?
Yeah, there could be entertainment, but you're not going to enjoy it. Because
that's
the sound is not going to be clean. So for voice, you know that they're talking, and so you are going to at least hear what they're saying. But for music, no.
Wow. So do you think, as in this generation, excuse me, this generation, as in their way of life, do you think they would have enjoyed AM if that was the only thing till now?
If that was the only thing, there was no streaming service for music. Of course, they wouldn't have had any alternative.
Okay.
So technology at the time would have just remained the technology. 08084275464. Is that line working? If it is, and somebody wants to call, you can call 08084275464. Is Radio 101 on 98.5 Speed FM. Ask those questions you've always wanted to ask about radio, and I'm here to answer you. In the meantime, Mmemshima, King, and Ubongabasi are asking me. So what's the next question?
Okay, the next question for me is that, do you think as we advance in technology, we should like do away with the past technology when it comes to like radio? Because I think we are used to like, okay, once there's GSM, now you see less people using landline phones and all of that. So do you think we should do away with the past technology when there is a new one on board?
No. I think the thing is also about policies of government that leads to people's behavior sometimes, because they're still using the landline in most countries of the world that are far more advanced than us in Nigeria. But it's only here. There's more safety on the landline, for instance, because it's not wireless, it's wired, and it could be easily traced. But there's a lot of fraud now because of wireless technology. So if you have, there were times that they introduced this same play out that I'm talking about here, that is digital. They used some hard drives and made computers on the same network using LAN, local access network, to run those things to keep playing. That's the same technology that CDs came. First, there were one loader, and so eventually they decided to increase from 1 to 3 loader, and then they made some have a lot of loaders. The technology even dated way back to LP, which is this turntable, called changer, because the one will play and drop, another one will play, so that you don't keep going back. So technology evolves, but there are certain things that you must not, do away with. For instance, if you have a cassette player or CD player and your station is off, your computers crash, and you want to come back immediately for any reason, even if they don't crash and they go off, it's the analog that plays first, because you just need to touch the hard button and that CD is playing before you can boot your computer. So you can't do away with those ones for people who know they shouldn't.
They should